You're watching Gearz.
Hey, welcome to Gearz. You know, a few weeks ago we started a project called the Perfect Additions Truck. And the whole point, just like the name implies, was to show some of the perfect add-ons that you could do to a daily driver that makes it run better, makes it look better, makes it work better. And these are all things that you have asked to see. Now, the cool thing about this project, though, is that virtually everything we put on here you can get over the counter at your local NAPA Auto Parts store. So no more hunting websites, no more searching Google, one-stop shop. And that's another thing that you've asked to see. Now, so far we've filled the bed with a rack of auxiliary lighting, a whole bunch of toolboxes, and even a compressor generator combination. We also put on a high-flowing air intake, as well as a catback exhaust system. And then tweak the computer for more power. Then we installed a mild 2-inch lift, airbag overload springs, and bigger wheels and tires. Today we're going to turn our attention to the front of this rig and see if we can't make a difference up here too. Now, the main reason that you have a big four-wheel drive like this is so you can take it off-road and use it. So the four-wheel drive system's got to be strong, and we need some sort of recovery system so we can pull people out when they get stuck. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of those weak hubs on there and replace them with these new Warn units because they're much stronger than stock. They bolt right in place of the originals, and they're a lot easier to use. Now, Warn is also known for winches. So we got this system called the Transformer that's going to allow us to use our stock bumper with all this special bracketry to mount a winch. But there's more than that. You can also get light bars and brush guards and tow hooks, making this a complete accessory package. Now, the winch we're going to mount to this is, of course, this Xeon 12 Platinum, which is a 12,000-pound electric winch. Comes with this really cool wireless remote and all the goodies. Now, I know this looks like a lot of stuff here, but trust me, you're going to love it when it gets on the truck. Let's go. First, we'll remove the bumper and the stock toe loops. Then we'll put a nice thick coat of Herculiner on both bumpers to give them a tough skid-proof skin that will also match the coating we put in the bed. Now, while the bumpers are drying, it's a perfect time to install these new brackets that will support the winch. Then, once the bumper is finally dry, we'll just slide it over the new brackets and bolt it back in place. Okay, now you can get a pretty good idea how this works. These brackets go through the stock bumper and mount solidly to the frame to give us plenty of strength to mount all those accessories over there on the table. And since we didn't replace the stock bumper, we saved a considerable amount of money on this. Now all we got to do is put it all together. The winch mounting plate is the first thing to go on, and it just bolts to the brackets. Make sure that you use a level, though, so it's sitting square. On the bottom of the winch mounting plate, we're going to add this receiver hitch. So we have an extra winch point if we need it. Next comes the winch itself, and it's just a matter of dropping it in place and bolting it on. And with a couple of connections to the battery, it'll be ready to roll. The new wireless remote is one thing that makes this Xeon winch so cool, and it's a nice option to have if you're stuck out in a big mud hole, unless, of course, you drop it. And that takes care of the winch. Now, if all you want to do is put a winch on the front of your truck, you can stop right here because that's all hooked up and ready to pull you or your buddies out of a tight situation. But that doesn't do a whole lot to protect the front of the truck, and it would be nice to have some auxiliary lights up here. And that's why Warren calls that the transformer, because you can keep adding things to it to transform it into whatever you need it to be and whatever your budget allows. So we're going to keep adding to it. First, we'll add the center brush guard to protect the grille from damage, followed by the headlight guards. Then we'll add the light bar in the center. And finish it off with these special Warren high-intensity off-road lights because, well, you can never have too many lights on your rig. Now, there's no question that this winch and bumper combination makes a huge difference in the look and the usability of this truck. But one thing that we haven't dealt with is this grille. Look at this. It's only 7 years old and this thing's already starting to fall apart. So we're going to replace that too. When it comes to replacement grills, there are a ton of options out there for pretty much any taste or style. Now on this truck, we're going to go with this classic billet grill from T-Rex because it replaces all the junk that was here in the middle with these nice even billet bars. Then of course it has these additional inserts that go right here on the sides. Then we picked up these inserts that are going to mount right here in these side vents, and it ties the whole front of the truck together. Now, once you get your grill put together, all you got to do is bolt it on. Hey, welcome back to Gearz, where we have just finished doing a serious facelift on the front of this Ford Super Duty. Now the winch, the off-road lights, the brush guard, all work together to make this far more useful up here than it was just a few minutes ago. The billet grill just ties it all in and makes it look better. Now, we've upgraded the front, we've done a serious amount of upgrades on the bed, we've upgraded the drivetrain. About the only place we haven't gone is down the sides of the truck. So it's time to go there and deal with those factory running boards. Now, as you know, a running board provides a step up into a vehicle, so it definitely serves a purpose, especially on a lifted truck. But these running boards are all broken up and busted, and they're really not working with what we're doing to the truck now. So we're obviously going to replace those with these oval sidebars from Lund. Take a look. These are made out of polished stainless steel, and they got the black plastic step pads exactly where you need them for stepping in and out of the truck. Then you've got the mounting brackets and all the hardware to put them in. This is how to do it. First, remove the old running boards and add them to the junk pile. Next, just bolt the new brackets to the inside of the rocker panel. You'll be using existing holes, so you won't even need to drill anything out. Now just bolt the sidebar to the brackets, level everything up, and tighten it down. And that takes care of the sidebars. Now look at that. That looks a lot better than those old stock running boards that were on there, and that'll only take you about 15 minutes to put those on. All right, now we're gonna move to the one problem that everybody faces with a truck. Because even though we've got a step here, there's not one back there to help you reach over the side of the bed. So we are going to solve that problem right now. These are called the bed steps. Now this is basically a spring-loaded step that extends when you need an extra step and retracts when you don't. Now notice we have a matching pair that are going to mount on either side of the bed up here in front, and then this one here is going to go back here in the corner on the driver's side. Now just like the bed sides, that's the only tools that you're going to need to put these in. To mount the rear step in the corner, just take 2 nuts off of the bumper mount, 2 nuts, and bolt the step on. For the side steps, a special threaded bracket slides into the bed channel to add strength and give us something to bolt to in case you have some rust issues like we have here. It also utilizes the factory holes, so there's no drilling necessary. Then the whole step assembly bolts into place with extra brackets for support. Since the bed steps are made to fit specific vehicles, there's no guesswork or tweaking to make these fit. Just tighten the bolts. Now, with just a flick of your foot, you got a step that drops down and gives you a leg up into the bed so you can finally reach the stuff that you're after. And this step will handle as much weight as you can stack on it. So that crazy uncle of yours, he's not gonna break it off if he bounces up and down on it. Now, once you're done with it, all you have to do is give it a kick. It retracts up under the body. This is such a cool accessory that I'm surprised that trucks don't come from the factory with this. Hey, we're back and rolling down the final steps of the Perfect Additions project truck, which was basically designed by you. Because the whole idea here was to install some of the most popular aftermarket products that you said you wanted to see be installed on a vehicle to make it more useful. So the first thing we did is load up the bed with a bunch of boxes and equipment. Then we loaded up the front with a bunch of off-road accessories as well. We also upgraded the air intake, the exhaust system, and reprogrammed the computer, and put on a mild 2-inch lift, 35-inch tall tires, and airbag overload springs. But as cool as all of this stuff is, there's still one really big area that I know a lot of you guys think we've overlooked, and that's everything here in the middle, the paint. Because now we have black bumpers on the front, black bumpers on the rear, black wheels, all kinds of accessories, but we still have this blue and tan two-tone that's really not working with anything. So we're going to take care of that right now. We met up with our buddies at Ape Wraps at a big parts expo to demonstrate how quickly and easily you can change the look of a vehicle using a vinyl wrap. Working a section at a time, the truck slowly began to be transformed into a completely different animal. And because a wrap goes on so quickly, this transformation was done in just one day, making it a heck of a lot cheaper and easier than a paint job. Also, the level of detail you can get with a wrap is amazing, right down to the rivets and the distressed metal look that we've got going on here. It also makes it easy to play tricks on people who may not be paying attention. Troy.
Never even noticed how right now.
With the wrap done, the final thing we're going to put on are some Fender Flares from Lund. Now these are a much larger pocket-style flare than what came on the truck originally, and we've already laid a heavy coat of Herculiner on them, so they're going to match the bed and the bumpers. So all we have to do now is bolt them on. And that's it, the Perfect Additions truck, loaded to the gills with all kinds of cool aftermarket parts and ready for work. So, if you've got a truck and you intend on using it, why don't you build your own version of a Perfect Additions truck, full of the parts that you want and you need? All it takes is a trip to your local NAPA Auto Parts store. You know, every once in a while, a company comes along that sees a need and they fill it. And instead of messing around with a bunch of different products, they focus on one thing and they do it right. Coca-Cola is a prime example. Kentucky Fried Chicken, Ray Barton, Magnum Force. I mean, they're out there. But this is a hard thing to pull off because people are naturally skeptical to big claims that companies make. So when a company came to us a few years ago named E3, claiming to have developed a better spark plug, I said, well, that's great, but you better be able to prove that. So first, we dug into the science behind this crazy plug with the weird cage design, and we put them under the microscope of some of the most geeky minds in the business. And when the dust settled, all the experts stood behind their findings. E3's cage design really was a better plug. But science is one thing, actual use is another. So we put the plug to the test in the world of small engines, where fuel mixtures are usually bad.
That's awful.
Maintenance is almost zero, and neglect is the norm. And the increased performance and starting ability in everything from go-karts to snowmobiles was enough for us to sit up and take notice. There was something special about these plugs.
We did all of our initial testing with Georgia Tech, Michigan State, the EPA, all with lawn and garden and small engine plugs. And most of them are 5 and 6 horsepower engines, so they fit right in our wheelhouse.
From there, we went to a racing shop and threw them into a hot street engine on the dyno to see what the numbers said. And sure enough, the numbers backed up the science. The E3 plug was really building more power than a traditional plug.
The most significant thing, in my opinion, is the gain in torque at 3,700 RPM, right where the converter just takes a hold and starts pulling. We jumped from a 428 up to a 435.
But street engines are one thing. A racing engine is a whole different deal. And when E3 said they wanted to go racing, we were expecting to see some destruction as they subjected their plugs to the high horsepower world of monster trucks. And then they went on to the unlimited world of top fuel drag racing. And of course, there was a lot of destruction as the plugs were hammered with bombastic explosions of over 10,000 horsepower. But with each plug that failed, the engineers used that knowledge to improve the design, and now you've got some of the top teams in top fuel and other racing using E3 plugs and winning races with them.
We went out there and made a run. Not only was it a great run, it was our best run of the year so far, a 407 at 311 miles an hour.
Of course, the plugs do have their limitations. They don't make a good fork. Oh, man. Or a hammer. Dang it. Or an app for your phone. What the heck? This is supposed to work. Or a guitar slide. I don't think so. But they will make more power. And that's what makes a company or a product successful. Always pushing and striving to make it better, even if it's just a lowly spark plug. And that brings up the question, where does E3 go from here? I mean, what else can they put these in? How much better can they make these? Well, I don't know, but I do know that NASA is sending some rockets to Mars. And if there's any way E3 can get those plugs in those rockets, I'm sure they're going to do it. And that's one test I definitely want to be there for.
Now, Quick Tip, brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn.
Everybody knows that the wire tie is one of the greatest inventions ever conceived for cleaning up wiring and making it look good. The problem comes when you cut the extra end off, because that leaves two very sharp points here that will get right into your skin and just rip the heck out of it. It'll draw blood if you get it hard enough. Fortunately, there is a simple solution here. Just take a lighter and heat up the end that's left over when you cut it off, and take your finger, then just flatten it down. This gets rid of the sharp edges and completely solves the problem. Your arms will thank you, your hands will thank you, and everybody that ever works on your car will thank you. If you would like to learn more tips to make your life easier in the shop, check out the tips page on the website.
And now, what are you working on? Brought to you by Carrera, Motorsports at Home.
Today's What Are You Working On comes from Michael Olick from Sturgeon County, Alberta, Canada. And for his first project, he wanted to build something for his daughter's graduation. The problem is he found a 74 CUDA, but it was all in boxes. But take a look at this. That didn't bother him. He started digging into this thing and started replacing all of the rusty metal from the floors, the quarter panels, the trunk, everything went under the knife. The 340 engine was rebuilt a little hotter than stock to give the car some get up and go. And of course, the car was completely repainted, all by Michael, in their home garage. And when the dust finally settled, out rolled a brand new 74 CUDA just in time for his daughter's graduation. Check this out. Now, like I said before, this was Michael's first rebuild. He bit off a big project, but he pulled it off and he gave his daughter such a cool graduation present. So, Michael, for building such a great car and being such a cool dad, we hooked up with our buddies at Carrera. We're going to give you one of these Evolution race car sets so you can challenge your daughter to a race without dinging up that CUDA. Also, we're going to give you one of our new Gearz t-shirts and one of our electrical wiring books to help you with any wiring problems that you might have on your next project. Now, for the rest of you guys, if you want to get in on this, get your vehicle featured on the show, you got to go to the website, go to Gearz Nation and fill out a profile, because we pick all of our inclusion, all of our What Are You Working Ons right off of Gearz Nation. Also, don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff, because we've got all kinds of things going on with all kinds of vehicles that you're going to want to see. All right, get out there, start working on something. We'll see you next time.